And one of the things that I found out recently, that I had not previously known, is General or Lord Baden-Powell brought this concept of creating young men to be scouts, sort of pseudo-ranger or soldiers, after observing the Dutch in the Boer War in South Africa. And what he noticed was these units had these young men who were not quite old enough for soldiering, teenagers, who were very, very handy, middle class or working men who were stuck in cities and never got to the English countryside, never had to build a fire. And I found out that one of my husband's grandfather in Bristol was one of these first young men who got dragged out to the country for 2 weeks, plunked down and taught how to make fires. The creation of the Great Seal. So if you think of the Great Seal of the United States, like when the president is speaking on the podium, the eagle with the shield in front of it, the eagle has an olive branch with 13 leaves in its left foot, symbolizing the 13 colonies. And then the eagle's right foot is a cluster of arrows, also 13, indicating we will be ready in times of both peace and war. But how that design came about is really kind of a fascinating story. It took 6 years to come up with that design. And the first committee actually... So anyway, originally they came up with using the golden eagle, which is the other species of eagle we have in this country. Which is kind of interesting. The last bit of trivia is, it's not that Ben Franklin wanted a turkey on our Great Seal or to be our national symbol. It's just that Ben Franklin despised bald eagles. He called them a bird of bad moral character. But this is because he had observed, and you can do this even today, up and down the Potomac, the Delaware, all the big estuaries of New England, he saw bald eagles stealing fish from osprey. So osprey, which we only get in Colorado, from about March until September, osprey are obligate fish eaters. They really don't eat usually anything else. Bald eagles can eat almost anything. And they're much bigger than osprey. So Ben Franklin called it osprey the noble fish hawk, laboring to provide for his family. So and a lot of interface of new bald eagles from Fort Collins down to Pueblo. Okay, I'm sorry. Am I taking too long? So I can get to the point, right? Okay, I'm hurried. When our foundation got our start in 1980, there were only 9 nests in the entire state. All of them were on the western slope, a lot in the San Luis Valley. The only one was at Bar Lake State Park. There are a couple of reasons why bald eagles have skyrocketed. First of all, we banned the use of DDT in this country, which caused eggshell thinning. The Endangered Species Act, environment being cleaned up. Bald eagles are very human disturbance tolerant. They are like snakes and hawks, coyotes, and great horned owls. They will sit on a light pole overlooking Jewel and Wadsworth when I was driving my son to high school in Lakewood, and they don't care. They're not like golden eagles that really need more remote areas. They are everywhere. Peter spends a lot of time in Seattle, Pacific Northwest, and they're on bridges. It's ridiculous. So the bald eagle was officially taken off the endangered species list in 2007, and there are approximately now 316,000 bald eagles in Canada and the continental U.S. Alaska does not figure into that count. So 2 and 4 weeks old when she was taken out of the nest. So she is not a hard, hand-fed imprint like when you were buying a cockatoo or an Amazon. That she is extremely habituated because after a few months living with people, she was just dumped at a state park. She was released in the same area and had to be recaptured twice. Every time she was recaptured, she had come back to people. She never learned to hang out with her own kind. Because this is another thing, another reason why bald eagles are often scavenging. They learn to hunt by old on the back. She's 7 now. She weighs just under 12 pounds. She gets up to 14 pounds in the middle of winter. And her wingspan is 7 feet stretched out. Yeah, I'm glad that she's 11 3/4 now, because when she's 14 in January, it's it's not fun. But as you can see, her far right-hand tail feather, closest to east, still has a little bit of brown on it. They don't all turn into perfect, U.S. Post Office, perfect stamped bald eagles. They do have individual variation. They're very, very well known. So the tool cabinet that Luke and the troop and everybody installed is on the southwest side of her enclosure. It abuts right up against her. So she was kind of interested in what was going on with the last tool cabinet. What worked and what didn't is what we used working with Steve and Luke on this design. And it's been marvelous. Our snow shovel is just getting fear out of the way. To maintain a collection of almost 30 birds, we spend half our time keeping it cool in the summer and warm in the winter, and we shoveled a lot of snow this winter. And it's held up really well. Although as predicted, within 3 weeks, the mice were getting in there trying to build nests. So we're taking care of that. Anyway, as I said, we have eagles, hawks, falcons, owls, a Mississippi kite. We do these programs all over the state. We don't fly as much as we used to, but we have when we can. Driving is usually easier. And I love doing the scout programs because the ethos of service and community involvement is just so high, with this demographic, and getting to know the Stinemetze family and working with Luke. I have to say the one person that's not here that really helped also was sort of my youth construction expert, Kevin. Kevin and Luke work together. Kevin does a lot of perch building and knows exactly what works and what doesn't at our facility. So thank you.
Mom, relax.
I'm just so glad Luke is going to see you like I did. It's going to be a month.
Hold her up a little bit more.